I'm at the summit of Mount Diablo. Now, how many of us enjoy the view, but actually take the time to learn about all this mountain has to offer? Today, I'm going to hang out with a volunteer organization that does just that. Come on. I'm here with Rich McDrew. He is with the MDIA. Rich, question for you. What is the MDIA?
MDIA stands for Mount Diablo Interpretive Association. We're a nonprofit 501c3 organization in Mount Diablo State Park to help the park, mostly in the interpretive arena. We do all the publications in the park. There's a handout called the Mount Diablo Review that's given to everybody who enters the park. We do publications like Mount Diablo wildflowers, birds of Mount Diablo, trees and shrubs of Mount Diablo. So we do a lot of publications, but we also lead hikes, clean up the park. We removed about 1 million feet of barbed wire. This used to be cattle ranches, a number of them around the park, and once it was added to the park, those barbed wire fencing is no longer necessary, so we removed all those primarily to prevent wildlife from getting caught in barbed wire.
We're at the summit right now, and I take it what's valuable about what you guys do is somebody comes up here for the view, but then they learn about all the other things that are going on with the state park as well, right?
Well, in a variety of ways. Certainly there are displays not only in the Summit Museum, but also in a trailer a structure that we have in Mitchell Canyon in Clayton that describes geology in the park, the fauna and flora in the park, and a variety of interesting things to, again, enhance and enrich the people's experience in the park.
But the visitor center is just right behind us,
right? Here.
You want to give me a tour?
Sure.
All right, let's go. You lead the way. Okay. Oh, okay, so there's a lot to see here. This is cool. Now, as I understand, there's a interesting story about how the mountain got its name, right?
Yes, there is an interesting story about it. It goes back to, almost 200 years ago, over 200 years ago, 1805 or thereabouts. The Native Americans were in missions throughout California. They rounded them up and put them in missions for their benefit, I guess. And they didn't like that, so at Mission San Jose, a group of Native Americans tried to go back to where they originated from, this area. Mexican soldiers traced them to a large area near Buchanan Field and rounded them up in a thicket area. And it got dark on them, so the soldiers kind of held out, and as did the Native Americans till it got daylight. And during the night, the Native Americans slipped away. And that morning, of course, they didn't find them, and the soldiers felt that it was the devil at work. And so they created a map, and on the map they marked that area Monte del Diablo. And another term for thicket is monte. So they misunderstood what was supposed to be on the map, and rather than identify the thicket, they identified a close by mountain. Oh, they wanted to call that Mount Diablo. So that's how it got named.
So really, the moral of the story is study your Spanish.
That's true. Right? It's true.
So the visitor center has a lot to look at, but it has a geologic history as well about how the mountain was formed. You know anything about that?
Well, I'm not a geologist, but I've been told that actually the rock that is on top of the mountain now came from under the sea millions of years ago. In fact, the oldest rock is at the top of the mountain and is roughly 200 million years old, where the rock towards the bottom of the mountain is about half that. So it's a term that they use. Subduction and volcanic action caused the Earth's crust to move and raise up. And so that's what we have today. And they say the peak is still rising.
Okay, something to look forward to.
Yes. So maybe in another 100,000 years, it might be a foot more.
Call me when that happens.
Okay, I will.
What else can we see here?
Well, gosh, you know, Mount Diablo State Park is one of 278 state parks in California. And is not the largest, but one of the largest, and is of 20,000 acres. And a lot of the things to do here have to do with hiking. There's 187 miles of hiking trails. And one of the more popular times to see the park, to go in the park, is to hike on trails to see wildflowers. So we're talking about February and March, April too, depending on the amount of rainfall we get. So that's a popular thing to do. Certainly seeing wildlife. There's a variety of wildlife here. Not many mountain lions. If there is any mountain lions, there might be one coming in and out of the park. Never had any incidents of people being attacked by mountain lions. There are coyotes. People see them all the time. Bobcat. And all sorts of, certainly deer and rabbits, and birds is a very common thing. In fact, we publish a booklet called Birds of Mount Diablo, and we have seen 204 different birds either above or in the park. So,
wow,
interesting.
How has the recent fire changed what you guys are doing?
Well, not an awful lot. One of the things that we did is started a fund campaign to raise money so we can do some restoration efforts in the park. And the restoration efforts really involve rebuilding picnic tables, rebuilding restrooms that burned. Fortunately, the fire did not cause any major damage to homes, nothing major in the park other than the restrooms and picnic tables. So we want to repair those. We won't do any replanting. Nature seems to do the replanting themselves far better than man can do.
You want to go show me a little bit?
Sure.
All right, this way. Okay, so we're in one of the more heavily damaged areas of the mountain from the recent fire, but there's good news because it seems as though the vegetation is coming back. Isn't that right?
It's coming back already. Isn't that something how it's coming back so quick? And it was just because there was a little bit of moisture. We had about a quarter to a half inch of rain just after the fire. Maybe it was about a week after the fire that started these plants already. So the restoration will take probably 10 years before it will all come back, and it will look like there was never a fire here other than perhaps some burnt stubs.
Now, you mentioned that the MDIA is volunteer run, and volunteers like yourself actually come through and pick up refuse.
Yes,
Are you always looking for more volunteers? Tell me about the organization.
Sure. Well, we have 325 members now, and certainly we love to have volunteers. And to be able to do restoration work, to volunteer for Mount Diablo Interpretive Association is terrific because you're doing something worthwhile, and it makes you happy.
Thanks, Rich, for all your help and all that you've done today.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
All right. Well, I had a great time exploring Mount Diablo with my new friends at the MDIA, and they do important work. If you want to get involved, just visit their website for more information.